Now it's time to integrate our backend API for the updating part with our existing front end. So let's go to our code and let's close all of this stuff out using close all. Let's close this and let's collapse this. Now what we want to do is we're going to go to the client, the source, the pages, not in the pages but in the components we have the dash profile page. Now I remember if you look into this thing, it's basically a component, this part, which is called dash profile component. And then there's this nav, sidebar. So anyways, what we have is dash profile.jsx in the components folder. Now what we want to do is we want to track all these kind of states like 1, 2, 3, and then the image 4. So this could be in a form data state. We could put it in a data state over here. Let's just create right here. We could just say const, and then we have form data. So form data, and then we have 1 minute. So form data, and we have set form data. So set form data, and then we could equal it to use state, and then initialize it with just an empty object in the beginning. And then after that, things would work out. So okay, so this is the set state. But what we want to do is we want to actually track this out, right? So to basically track this, you want to actually go to the image. So first of all, you can see this handle image change. There's this file, and then there's this download URL that basically, if you look at this handle image change, that's basically for the image, right? Set image URL. But if you look into this, use effect does the same thing with it. But if you look into the upload image, which is this one, right, in the use effect, the use effect also does relations. So basically, there's a lot of connection going on here. But if you look into the upload image, over here, when we basically upload it successfully, so get download URL, you get this download URL, you set it as a set image URL. But what you want to do now is once it's done, you want to put it in that form. So you could actually say, you could basically say set form data, and then you could actually have the existing form data, which is form data, okay? Which is form data, right? So the spread operator has the existing form data, but now with the change with the profile picture. So you could say profile picture, and that should equal to the download URL, which is essentially this, okay? So now it's going to be updated for the picture. So that we solved the problem for the picture, right? But now, what about the other states? Now I'm talking about, let's talk about, wait a minute. So just give it a space over here. Now let's talk about these other fields like 1, 2, 3, like these fields. Let's go there all the way to the fields. So they start from here: text input, and text input. You could basically go here, and you could have alt, and then you could click on this one, and then you could click on this one. Okay, press enter, and then you could just say on change. So we basically need an event handler, and we could have on change, and inside here we could say handle change. Okay, so this is going to be our function, and this is gonna take care of these issues. So we're gonna have to define this handle change function. Go all the way on the top over here, and over here you can see this image file and file image URL. You don't have to have that. So const over here we have handle change, okay, and equal to the event, which is like that, and then you have essentially like this. Now what you want to do is you have to set the form data, and you have to track the current status. So that's why we created IDs for each thing. If you remember, we have the existing form data. It has to be the same. Like suppose if I only change the password and I don't change all the other fields, then I should only have the password changed and not other things. So I want to have that spread operator to have those other states preserved, and then you could just basically have e.target.id based on the target ID of each field. We have e.target.value. Okay, so we have like this. Essentially, you could see now we have a really cool thing, and everything looks good here. Well, let's just have this. Okay, so set form data is the existing form data, and then we have this target value. Let's look at this and see how this works. So if you console.log, okay, console.log this form data, you would see now it's going to be tracking the changes because we are basically targeting the ID field for each input field. Remember these IDs, and now it's changing it based on its value. Okay, so e.target.value, and you know this is going to look so good. So so this is the default, but it's going to automatically change. So now let's go over here, inspect console, and you can see some things are being there. Let's just refresh this page. Okay, so because of my old call, I have this call for no reason. I'm gonna have to remove that, the console.log. But over here, if you look into this coding cleverly, if I look at this, so I'm removing it, and it's constantly calling that too. Let me just remove that console.log I have. Maybe somewhere over here. So I believe it's this one. So you could just remove this one. It doesn't really make sense. And I think everything else looks good. Okay, so that was just for testing purposes. Now you can refresh this thing. Okay, so now it looks good. This is your form data, which is empty. That's the thing, right? Now the form data is gonna change whenever I make some kind of difference. So you can see over here, this is being updated. So now this is the username, and then you have the email. So basically I gotta just do this, and the email is being changed accordingly. Password could be changed, and the password field is being changed. So I mean that's super good. And what about the image? So if you change the image, so now you can see once it's uploaded, it basically uploads on Firebase. Remember, we fixed all of this, so now this is essentially uploaded on Firebase storage. Okay, so I think I had invalid HTTP method URL here. So I essentially just forgot something maybe, but I could guarantee you this is uploaded. Yeah, essentially, right? Yeah. So I have to open this up and then copy this URL. So copy this one, and then remove these quotes. So you can see over here, this is pretty neat. So I could have, so hold control and then the arrow. This is just a little faster, and then once you remove those quotes, you'll see that the image is being uploaded in that Firebase storage, right? Really cool. But it's not basically going to be preserved here, and when I refresh the page, it's gone. But now you can see I tracked everything. I tracked all of this stuff. So essentially this is the entire thing. So we had a username, which is coding cleverly, email, this is the email, password 123, profile picture, and this is our Firebase picture, which has our which has our picture, which is super awesome. So this is exactly the same thing. I mean, it looks like this in this type of format, so you could view it like this, and it normally does the same. Okay, so I mean we're good, and we tracked everything. Now when we want to click on submit, it should call that API that we created, right? Backend API. So let's go back here, and we could just throw this, pass that as a JSON to our existing Express backend, right? So I mean, things are making sense over here. So what we want to do is we want to go and track this in a form. So you can see that there's actually a form, because this whole thing is a form. This thing is a form, this whole thing, right? So let's go into that tag. If we go to the return, so you can see over here we have this form, and the form that's closing, and then the opening is here. What we could do with this form is we could have the form on submit. So we have on submit, okay, and then we could call a function, and it's going to be called handle submit, like this. Okay, so handle submit has to be defined, and let's just define somewhere right here. We could just remove this console.log now, so we could just have this handle submit. So handle submit is also pretty simple and easy, so we could just say const handle submit equal to e, which is, and then event, and then okay. So now one thing important is that handle submit is going to be calling an API, backend API, and there's going to be some other use cases for it. That's why I'm using async. So I'm going to tell you what's the purpose. First of all, I want to not have that refreshing effect, right? We want to prevent that, so prevent default. So we want the form, prevent the form from refreshing the browser, and then we want to set the the things that we basically got from the form data. So form data has our fields, all of them, right? So what you want to do is you could actually first check if the form data is empty. If it's empty, you don't have to use this handle submit, right? Or you just have to return. So you could use this thing which is called object dot keys, and then we have the form data, okay? And if the length of this is equal to 0, okay, you could simply basically say return, okay? So that's essentially the first case here. Okay, so now let's go in the better part, which is the the API call. So right here we have try and catch. Okay, so in the catch part you could have a console. You could actually use, what we're going to use is this, reducers. We remember those dispatch and then use reducer. We're using those because we want to preserve the state globally. That's why we have to go to the Redux folder. So in the client folder, you have the Redux folder, and inside we have the user and then the user slice. Remember we had this. So we had this for sign in start, sign in success, and sign in failure. But now we have to do it for update. Okay. So this is also super simple. All we got to do is we could start from here and we could just say update. Update. So basically you could call this as update start. So I'm going to call that as update start, and then we have the state, which is, and then yeah, so what we have here is the state. We could just say state dot loading, and then we could set that to true. Okay, and then we have so whenever you start updating, you have to change the state to load state of loading to true. And you remember all these things: loading, error, and then current user. Okay, so the error could also be null, because right now you just started it, right? So error is null. Then after that we have update success. So update success, and then we have state, and then we also have the action. Now this is coming very important here. So what we have to do is state dot user, remember the current user, so state dot current user is equal to action dot payload. Okay, and the other thing is state dot loading. This has to be equal to false. The reason why I'm saying is that because you basically saved the data that's coming from the payload to your current user, global state for Redux, but after that you have to turn the thing to false because no more loading, and you also have to just exit this. And now let's go to the next one, which is update failure. Sorry, so update failure, and then we have the state again, state, and then we also have the action. And over here we have something which is gonna basically have the state dot loading is equal to false. Okay, and the error that happens, update, so you want to put it in that state error message. So over here you have action dot payload, so whatever that response is, you're going to put in that state dot error. I believe that's perfect. And all of that is good, pretty good, and you could just put a comma right here, and then this is all it. Okay, so you could actually export const, and then you export these reducer functions. So update start, update success, and then we have update failure. Okay, these are being exported. Okay, user slice dot actions, and then we have this user slice dot reducer. So now we could easily use this in our profile over here. So let me just put this breakpoint over here at 91, so I remember. Let's go back here, and we're gonna first of all import these. So right over here, we could have import. What's it called? Update start, update success, and we have update failure, and then we have from Redux user, and then user slice. Now remember, I said we don't need any extension here, so it's gonna work for us. Okay, we don't know .js, whatever. So because this is the front end, and then after that we have the dispatch. So we have import use dispatch, and then we have from React Redux. Okay, now you could initialize this dispatch over here, just right here. So right after the form data, I could define so const, and then we have so we have dispatch is equal to use dispatch. Okay, and then we can dispatch all these reducers one by one. So first of all, remember the error that I said I'm gonna have to dispatch it through the use reducer. So dispatch, and we have update failure, and then we have error dot message. So this is exactly the use case of how we had to handle this, and you know, we did it really good, really easily, and you know, successfully. Now if we go to the try part, we have to first dispatch the start thing. Remember, so we have dispatch, and then we have update start. Okay, so dispatch. Okay, what I did over here. So dispatch, and then inside the dispatch we have update start. So this could be update start, like this. Perfection. Okay, so now this is done. We have the thing that we have to call the API. Okay, so it's an await and now fetch. Now I used the await keyword, right? That's the reason why I had to put in async on the top. Remember? Now what we want to do is fetch our API call, and then this is dynamic based on every profile. So it's going to be different based on every profile URL. So you could use a backtick, okay, and then you could say /API/. Now remember, I made it a proxy so that I have all those existing things. Now I just have to say /API/ whatever. So /API/user/ update, and then based on that we have to change it based on the URL. So we could just get that URL from the current user. Remember, the current user is the global Redux state. So over here, remember, so it's state.user. So current user dot underscore ID would be the ID, and you could just get it from there. So you could say dollar, and then we have current user dot underscore ID, like that. Okay, so that's good. I mean, we got the ID, we got the comma, and then we could put in here the method that we have to put. The method is basically post. I mean, sorry, not post, but put. Post you could do. Remember, I told you that you could use post for sign in. And you could use post for sign in, but for updating you could also use post, but it's not recommended. It's better to put method, okay, for its particular use case. So that's there, and then after that we have these headers. So this header has to be the content type, and then we have application/JSON. Okay, so that's good. And then we could have the body. So right here we have the body, and we could have JSON.stringify form data. Now this is so cool, and you know, you have to understand this. What you're doing is basically calling this await fetch, okay? And you have to put in a variable, so that's response, okay? So now what happens is that this whole API call is being done through fetch, and you're passing it through to the Express backend, and you're converting the form data to JSON and then stringifying it, so that it's basically sent as a body to Express backend, so that it could handle this for this API call. I hope you understand this, because remember, we were manually creating it in our Thunder client. Remember that user JSON body and then inside squiggly. So this is doing it for us. So that's the magic here. What we're doing is we're automating this whole thing. And now what's going to happen is that, you know, if the response is a success, I mean, everything is good. But if it's not, we gotta have to check of that first. So first of all, see response.data. So you could basically response.json this thing. Okay, you basically get a response.json of the thing, but you gotta have to await, because this has to convert this response to a JSON, and you could see it as data like this. Okay, you're gonna get a return message like, remember when we update something, you get the JSON back, and remember the right side panel, if you remember in the last video, in Thunder client, it gives you a response back. Yeah, the Express. So that's basically the data. Okay, so the data has to be success or something. So if I say it's like, if the response wasn't clear, like I say response dot okay wasn't good, so what I could just do is dispatch the failure thing. So we can dispatch, and we say update failure, and then we have, now what is this data? Remember this data, and whatever the message comes, we can just associate it with that, and we're super good to go. And yeah, and one other thing is, else it's going to be the success case. Now if it's good, we could dispatch the success message, which is update success, and we pass in the data. Now the data, whatever the data comes from the Express backend, you put it in your this, because remember, whatever that data was coming was basically the user information, the updated one, and you could put it as your global state. So you could say update success and put it as a global state for the current user, remember, and then the loading and all that will be handled easily, perfectly. Okay, so loading and the error. So I mean, this is amazing. You know, all this stuff will be you know, handled, and everything will be updated, which is super amazing. So I believe we got dispatch update failure data.message, which is super good, and we got the success part too. And the only thing left now is to essentially see this in action, because we already created it. So let's go here. So over here we have fail to reload source components dash profile.js. This could not be due to syntax errors. This could be due to syntax errors or importing non-existing modules. So it says fail to reload source. Okay, dash profile.jsx. Let's have this refresh. Now it doesn't have this problem. Let's try to update the result. Form data is no longer in the console.log. So I'm gonna check it through network. So just 1 second. Let's first of all change our username, because it's 3637. Let's do like this and click on, so go in the network tab. So over here you're gonna see submit. Okay, so you could see over here that we got a 401, and it says over here username coding cleverly couldn't update it, I believe. So unauthorized. The reason why am I logged in or something? So successful. So we basically got an unauthorized. Let me try to log in. I believe I was logged in. I could, I could remove my thing. So first of all, let's go to the application, and then we could remove the local storage. So right here we have this. Okay, we don't have anything. Oh no, sorry, not the session storage, but the local storage. Remove this. So delete this. Refresh this page. Okay, now it's back to its existing state. You could put in inspect, and you're basically in network. Continue with Google. It should continue and log in with Google. So yeah, and let me just log in. Okay, I'm good to go. Logged in. Okay, this is the ping, and this is from Google, and it says this is my response coming back. Okay, which is super cool. And this is the payload that I gave. Okay, I gave my email, Google photo, all that jazz. Now what you want to do is you want to go to the profile section. So we don't have any over here, so we have to go into profile, or it's called, I think, dashboard, and in here we have the profile. So we have dashboard, and then we have a question tab is equal to profile. So this is the profile so far. Okay, and I wanted to change this to 3637. Let's do this, and let's submit. Okay, we got a 200 success. Click on this, and we have updated our username. Amazing. You can see this response is coming from the Express backend. So we could guarantee that this username has been updated. If I refresh this page, the username has been updated successfully. We could update the email at the same time. So instead, I could just use a dummy email like this and submit. And now you can see this has been updated. And now you can see the email has been updated as well. Refresh it, and that's perfect. Now you could check the image too. Now this is the image. Remember, this is the Coding Cleverly bulb. If we change it to this, this image, so what happens is that, I don't know, I randomly clicked on things. So I don't know why I just randomly clicked on some random stuff. So I can't see anything. Let me just, okay, so we have this. Okay, I didn't click on submit, so I'm going to refresh this. So you can see right now we just have the email and the username change. Let me just remove this as well. Okay, so inspect again, network. Okay, so I'm going to try to update my picture. So it's going to take some time to upload. Perfect. Now we want to submit it. So when I click on submit, I didn't get anything from, did I just click on media or something? All. I clicked on some random thing. I had to click on all, not media. So now you can see over here, we got this response fetch and Firebase profile picture. We have completely updated our image and it's up there on the nav bar too. So this is successfully done. Dark mode, successfully done. Refresh it, it's all saved. The state is being saved. This is super cool. And updating has been working phenomenally. Now, suppose if I want to update something, I want to have like a message like profile has been updated successfully, like an alert box. So that's super easy. And if you make a mistake, you could have an error message too. That stuff is super simple and easy to accomplish. What you could do is you could just add in some extra states. So the first state that we want to do is set image file uploading. So if you look at the set image file uploading, we have that state. Okay. So the next state we want to do is which is update user success. So we have const update user success. Okay. This is gonna be for essentially having the state of when the user is updated successfully. So update user success will initially have null, okay, by its default value, like that. And the same thing goes for const update user error, like, okay. And then we have set update user error, and then we have use state, and then we have null again. So this is what you understand here. We have update user success and update user error. We gotta have to check these both states out. So what I could do from here is that, first of all, you'll see that in the handle image change we have this image change, but we'll just slowly see how this is working out, right? So handle image change is this entire thing. I mean, this is just a function, and it basically has this image coming from that file, whatever you basically insert, puts in there, and then says set image file to that file, and set image file URL to url.create object URL. It just creates that URL for that image so that it preserves it in the display. But what we want to see is that, and then it actually sends it to it creates it for Firebase and all that functionality. You could see upload image, an image file based on the image file change. So over here we have, based on the image file change, we have this upload image functionality. Upload image basically uploads a image on Firebase. Now over here there's some things that we have to consider. So suppose we have this so we have the set image file uploading to null, and then we have set image file upload error to null. So I mean, that's perfectly there, which is pretty valid. And when we have like suppose an error, so in the error part we have set image file upload error, and then we have could not upload image, and then we have set image file URL, and then we have set image file upload progress to false. So all of this is really good, and if we look in this part, we have the set image file uploading to false. I mean, all of this sounds good, looks good, and let's just keep moving downwards and see if there. Yeah, so major chunk of that error success prompt and error will be in the handle submit, because I'm actually having this part over here. So over here we have set update success and user. So update user error. So you can essentially set that to null in the beginning, and you can also set the success to null initially when you want to submit. Okay, which is good. Now suppose the you have the error message. So you could basically say over here, whenever like the form data didn't have anything, so you could just say set update user error to no changes made. Okay, same thing goes for when we have the over here is okay, but if the image is being uploaded, so if the image file uploading, I hope you understand this state. This is basically a state that was created to just tell whether an image is being uploaded or not. So when it's like uploaded, it's just false, right? When it's done uploading, and when it's currently uploading, you would just have to say like, no, currently the image is uploading. So set update image users, please wait for the image to upload, and return like that. After that, we have the try, and in here we have the dispatch, and then we have the update start, and then we have this response, which is amazing, and then we have this return data, and you know, essentially you got this data update, which is super awesome. Okay, but the problem is that we want to have the error messages if somehow, you know, the error exists. So over here you can see the dispatch, but at the same time you could have set update error message, so user error, and then you could have data dot message, and the same thing goes for the so essentially you did the same over there, so it's no problem at all. And for success, you could just say set update user success and profile updated successfully. Okay, and then we have the catch, which is over here, and then we can do the same, which is set update user error, and then we have error dot message. Okay. Okay, so this is all super good. We could create an alert. Now, if it's like set update user error, if there's some kind of error message, you could basically put it right in this, you know, the div section where you have this edit and delete. So you could basically first, you know, have the div section, you know, where this is closing. So we have spans, and then we have this div, which is the entire thing. Okay, so right after that, you could have right in here. Okay, so sorry. So we have this div, and you understand that this div is part of this whole thing. So right inside of it, right after this, you know, edit and delete div, we have this one, and we'll say first success. So if update user success is true, you could essentially say first you could essentially say this round bracket, and in here you could put an alert. You know, this is coming from Flowbyte, and you could say color success, update user success message. Okay. I think this is just, you know, super simple. So you have control space and just save it. Okay, so the same thing goes for update user error. So update user error, if that exists, you could just basically have alert, and then we have color failure and update user error. Okay, so that's good. And if we have like a, you know, like any kind of other error, so we could also, you know, have that. I mean, let me see if we have an error over here. So, okay, I think we're basically good to go. So we have those alerts handled properly. I hope like alert is defined. If not, and we could essentially, yeah, it is defined. Okay, so let's go here. So now if I submit, there's no changes made, right? That's good. It's really good. Okay, let's refresh this and make sure we have no issues. Let's try to change our password. So we'll say 123. I believe this was the, let's see, because it's gonna update it. So password must be at least 6 characters long, which is super good. 456. Profile updated successfully. Okay, and you can see over here we have this put issue. I don't know why. Handle submit at so bad request. We have update. Okay, but let's see. Refresh this page, and if we go to the, I mean, I can't actually see my password at the moment, but I can only see it in my database. Let's try to log in. To MongoDB and see my password. It should be updated. Let's do the same thing for our email. So let's just say iftikhar updated. Okay, and change the image to, I don't know. This is not that good. You see over here, this would be updated. It's gonna update it. So now, if you look in the database, now right now I didn't update this. I only updated the password. Remember, it changed to 1 2 3 4 5 6 something. So if you look at the browse collections, and in my collection you see the users, and then over here we have this user that we're keep looking at, which is this one, which is the username coding level. Yeah. So yeah, perfect. We have updated the password. But now what we have to do is update this image and everything. Profile updated successfully. Good. And that's updated over there. And if you look into the response here, you could see that the email's there. If you refresh this, it would be reflected there too. I don't really like this image, so I'm gonna put it back to this one. It's pretty nice. So this is like the white one. It looks good, but in the white mode it won't work. So let me just have coding cleverly. Back to just, I'll just have the email set to coding cleverly at gmail.com. Okay. Password will be changed to, I mean, it's already there, so I mean, we don't need to do anything like that. Submit. And now we have profile submitted, and there you go. It's updated. Congratulations. You have completed this really amazingly. And now you could just see this is the next updated one, and there's the response from the Express backend, and it has the username, email, which is correct, the Firebase storage for the new picture. All of that is super good and handy. Now what we want to do is the next part. We're gonna have to fix this edit and delete. So we have this edit, right? Actually, what I wanted to do here was delete, and then we have sign out. So what I want here is, let me go here. So over here we have these buttons. Essentially, they're not even clickable too. So we have the span tag, right? So in the span tag we have delete. So we could just say delete over here. And then we have sign out. Sign out. So sign out could be like this. Okay, so now check this out. We have this. Okay, looks good. It's a little bit like congested with the thing, but that's not a big problem at all. You could basically put a margin top of 5. Okay. Okay, so if I save this, looks much better, right? And you could put the same thing for this as well. So, you know, let's see. So if we look into, yeah, so we basically have to put margin bottom too. So margin bottom, and then we could just say 2, and there you go. So that basically was so far the work that we've done. I hope you liked this part. So far the progress was amazing, and in the next part we're gonna fix this delete. Now delete will be operational, and it will delete the user. It's gonna be super simple. And then where the sign out is super simple either as well. We're just gonna clear the cache, the cookie basically, and then it's gonna sign out for us.